Hello everyone, welcome to back my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. And here, we thought that champagne was for happy occasions. Not always, it turns out. In the July 24th episode of The Young and the Restless recapped here, Nick used a bottle of bubbly to take a swing at the goon, keeping him under house arrest with disastrous consequences. What happened to Nick? Determined to break free, Sharon picked the lock on the door. But of course, on the other side of it awaited a guard the size of a wall. Nick tried to fight the guy, and, how to put it, failed badly. He even tried to KO Carter's henchman with a bottle of champagne, but all was said and done. Nick was bleeding badly, and a desperate Sharon quickly retrieved Billy to perform first aid. Here's hoping he has better luck keeping Nick alive than any company he's ever run. Will Nick die? Though Billy, who apparently recently binged The Pit and therefore is full of medical knowledge, did his best to patch Nick up. He told Sharon that her former spouse needed medical help. Stat. Even if Sharon hiked down the mountain, she'd never make it back in time to save Nick, Billy reckoned. But is this really the end for Joshua Morrow's long-running alter ego? Doubtful. As the actor told Soaps.com when reflecting on his early days in Genoa City, Victor and Nikki's son is obviously a cornerstone of the show and a huge part of this main family. I mean, some longevity was sort of baked into it. Assuming staying long-term was what I wanted to do, and was responsible, and showed up on time, and was efficient. He continued, I could stay as long as I wanted, pretty much. Would Morrow want to leave? Thankfully, there are no indications that Morrow has a yen to move on. As he's told us, I couldn't want to be famous less, and for all intents and purposes, I'm not. Nobody cares what I do in this town. There are far, far more people who are way more famous and interesting, so I can live my life and not have to worry about that. So this is an incredible way to provide for my family, to make a great living and to be in a job that is very fulfilling, that lets me work with incredible people, he added. It's really been just like the Powerball of jobs as far as I'm concerned. There was a time when Nicholas Newman, or just Nick to those of us who followed his life through decades of heartbreak, betrayal, and redemption, seemed immortal, not in the vampire sense, but in that soap opera limbo where no one ever really dies. But as I sit here watching the funeral play out on screen, trying to accept what I'm seeing, a mahogany casket lowered into the ground under a gray Genoa City sky, can't help but ask, is Nick really dead and buried? Or is this another cruel twist in the tangled saga of The Young and the Restless? Because Nick Newman doesn't just die. Not like this. Act 1. The heartthrob of Genoa City, Nick Newman, burst onto the screen in the early 90s like a force of nature. Victor's son, raised under the hard, judgmental glare of a titan, and Nikki's golden boy, always skating the line between privilege and rebellion. He had the looks of a Marlboro man, the heart of a romantic, and the impulses of a wrecking ball. He loved hard and lived harder. There was Sharon, his high school sweetheart, the one we all rooted for. Their early love story had the charm of a John Hughes film, The Jock and the Quiet Girl, with the tragic past but with more affairs, paternity questions, and faked deaths. Then came Phyllis. That red-headed hurricane swept into his life, and everything changed. We watched Nick spiral, crash, recover, cheat, regret, and then do it all again. But somehow, through all the chaos, through Cassie's death, Christian's paternity drama, Summer's near-incestuous nightmare, and 1,000 boardroom betrayals, Nick was always there. Shirtless in the gym, smirking in his black t-shirt, saving damsels and fighting his father. Nick was the eternal young lion. We believed in his resilience, so when word spread on social media first, as these things always go, that Nick Newman dies this week, the reactions were swift and disbelieving. A dream? A fake-out? Maybe Adam planted a double. But here we are. Casket, pallbearers, Victor with glassy eyes, Sharon barely holding it together, Summer weeping, Faith in silence. R.I.P. Nick. Act 2. The fall of a new week leading up to his death had all the markings of a typical Genoa City buildup. Nick was nosing around something big, something shady. A Newman Enterprises subsidiary was laundering money through shell companies. He confronted Victor, who stonewalled him. Then he discovered that Adam was involved, and worse, that Victoria may have known. That's when the threats began. Mysterious texts, a car following him, a warning voicemail that mysteriously vanished from his phone. He went to Chance, he went to Sharon, he even went to Phyllisby, 'cause despite everything, she was the one who always understood his darker instincts. She begged him to drop it, but Nick couldn't stop being the White Knight. It was his fatal flaw. The night of the explosion, yes. Explosion. Nick was last seen entering a warehouse on the edge of town. Surveillance footage shows him walking in. Then, fire, smoke, debris. No body was recovered that night, just his watch. Burned. For 2 episodes, we all held our breath. Maybe he made it out. Maybe he faked his death to draw out the real enemy. But then the body surfaced broken, real, undeniable, and just like that, Nick Newman was gone. Act 3. Grief, gaslight, and ghosts. But this is Y&R. No one dies without echoes. The week following his death has been a study in spiraling grief. Victor, once so commanding, now shuffles through the halls like a ghost, whispering his son's name. Nicky has relapsed. Summer lashes out at everyone, clinging to Harrison like a lifeline. Sharon sees him in dreams. Phyllis has gone full feral, tearing through security footage and conspiracy forums. Even Adam, his forever rival, stared into the abyss longer than we expected. Say what you want about Adam Newman, but he loved his brother in that strange, twisted way the Newmans all do, through power plays, lawsuits, and secrets. But the strangest thing, there's a sense of unreality to it all. Phone calls with no answer, a jacket Nick wore showing up at Crimson Lights. Faith swears she saw him watching her from across Chancellor Park. Rational minds say grief plays tricks. Soap minds say plot twist pending. Act 4, resurrection, rebirth, or final curtain. We've seen it all before. Remember when Victor died in that plane crash? Or when Sharon died and was held captive by a deranged doctor in a cabin? Or when Phyllis was in a coma for a year and returned with a new face? This is why the audience is split. Team He's Alive believes Nick staged his death. They cite his discovery of the money laundering, the lack of forensic confirmation, and his legacy status as signs he'll rise again. The working theory, he's in hiding, about to blow the whole Newman empire apart from within. Classic Nick. Team He's Dead says, this is the writers burning it all down. A bold choice. Killing Nick would shatter the Newmans, force Sharon and Phyllis into new territory. And maybe, just maybe, make room for Summer and Noah to take the lead. It's soap evolution. Painful but necessary. And then there's Team Clone Theory. Who, Well, let's not dignify that just yet. Even though I bookmarked the Reddit thread, Act V, Legacy of a Leading Man. Nick Newman wasn't just a character. He was a thread running through the emotional tapestry of the young and the restless for over 3 decades. His moral compass spun wildly, but he had one. He wanted to be better than Victor, but always feared he wasn't. He was the everyman in a suit. He loved family. He loved fiercely. And yes, he made so many mistakes. But he tried. And that's why we loved him. He was the guy who punched first and apologized later. Who'd bail out his enemies just to feel like the good guy, who could be both savior and saboteur in the same scene. He was contradiction made flesh. If this really is goodbye, then the writers gave him a hero's ending. He died uncovering truth, trying to protect the people he loved. He died a Newman, but more importantly, he died as Nick, a man shaped by love, loss, and loyalty. Epilogue. The dirt is fresh, but the door isn't closed as of today. Nicholas Newman is dead and buried. There's a gravestone, a death certificate, a stunned silence across social media. But this is daytime. And in daytime, the line between coffin and comeback is paper thin. So I say this, rest in peace, Nick Newman, if you're really gone. But no, this we're watching. We remember the tricks. We've seen the doppelgangers, the amnesia arcs, the secret twins. If you're out there, plotting revenge or healing in a monastery or growing a beard in Paraguay, wait, because if there's one thing more relentless than the young and the restless, it's its fans. And we're not ready to say goodbye. Thanks for watching this video, and please subscribe our Update World 24 YouTube channel for more update news.